today's video, I'm going to show you two beautiful creative eye makeup looks which you can create with the Catrice Crystallized Rose Quartz Eyeshadow palette. And as today is Wednesday, this means that we're getting creative. And those looks should inspire you to sit down, have fun with makeup, and then those are also looks that you can post on Instagram or any social media platform to show off your beautiful artwork. And so this is what we're about to do today. Now I also changed my music. I finally got new soundtracks which I'm going to play now during the different videos. So after 2 years I managed to get new music. So please make sure that you're listening to the music, that you're having fun while you're also watching this tutorial, and I also hope of course that you like this video. As my name is Melissa van Dijk, I'm a passionate and professional makeup artist, and now let's have a look at the first creative eye makeup look. As with this look, I went a little bit over the top. When it comes to, it's not like the usual application. I'm going to create some beautiful lines, digging into some shimmer, as well as having fun with the palette. And I personally find that this look turned out really well, and it's something new that I haven't done on my channel like that much. So I hope that you also enjoy the steps for it. Which brings me also directly to the step number 1, which is applying the purple into the crease and lower lash line. And for that we are going to dig into it with, of course, a flat eyeshadow brush. So I have the flat eyeshadow brush here, digging into the purple. I'm going to focus it at first towards the crease. Now, if you have any troubles with getting something even, then you always can take concealer, or if you want to need or if you need to blend something out, you can always take a separate brush and do so. I'm going to use some concealer and also a flat eyeshadow brush which is very stiff so that I can also correct this area. Now with the line towards the inner corner and the crease, I'm not going to make the line even based on that they look both even, but I'm going to make it suitable towards my eye shape, because I know that one of my eyes is a little bit different. So I'm not going to make sure that the line is the same length and also has the same curve, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to look straight into the mirror and see that it goes above the crease. And if both areas do it so, even though it looks different when I'm closing my eyes, this is the main point with this look. Now once this is done and you have applied it into the crease as well as the one part of the lower lash line and also created a little wing to it, then we can move on to the next step, which is applying shimmer onto the main lid area with a flat eyeshadow brush. And for that I personally like to go with a synthetic brush and digging into some shimmer, which is this one right here. And this one has also a little bit more of a purple rosy tone to it, which makes it perfect for the main lid application. And now I'm going to use my finger to blend the edges right here, because it should fade into like the brow area, because we don't want to have a harsh line right here. Now, if you're experiencing any fallout, you always can take a clean brush, dip it into some setting powder and then dust it away. And now we can move on to the next step, because we have a main lid application and we have also some shimmer on the main lid area. Now for the next step, I'm going to create a beautiful eyeliner which I'm going to match with the lower lash line, but I'm going to keep the focus towards the outer corner that the wing is nice, but it doesn't have to be a long wing. And for that I'm going to dig into a darker matte shadow, which is this one right here, as well as taking a very precise brush. You can also use an eyeliner brush for it. This is totally up to you. And so I'm going to dig into it with the tip of it and then starting creating a wing on the upper part. Now what you can do is you can always go back into the shimmer to make sure that it is or basically has a nice overlap towards the shimmer, because it shouldn't be like a major harsh line, but the shimmer will help you to make sure that it looks a little bit more faded. And now once the eyeliner is on and you have blended it with a little bit of shimmer, we can move on to the inner part of the lower lash line, which is basically applying it with a pink shadow. So for that I'm also going to use a flat eyeshadow brush and I'm going to dig into this. This still has a little bit of shimmer to it, but it does also like a mixture of shimmer and matte. I'm going to dip into this one and focusing it towards the inner corner. So once the lower lash line is on and you fully have completed it and melted it into the purple, we can now move on to highlighter, which I'm going to focus towards the inner corner as well as under the brow bone. Now for this application you can use your finger or a brush, and you can also dampen the brush if you want to make sure that the intensity is full on. If you want to keep it a little bit more subtle, then you can also use a dry brush. But I also do have some water right here where I'm going to dampen the brush just a tiny bit, nothing, not really going to wet the brush. And then dipping into the shimmer, which is the lighter one right here. And now once the highlighter is on and you have applied it towards the inner corner as well as the brow bone, we can move on to some mascara. And now once the mascara is on, this is the final step for the first creative eye makeup look, which I hope that you like it as well and that you can follow the steps to recreate it at home. Now let's have a look at the second creative eye makeup look, which I prepared for you guys, and here you can already see what the look will look like. I'm going to dig into some mattes and just a tiny bit of shimmer, but with that being said, let's also get directly into step number 1, which is also applying the crease shade as well as the outer corner shade. And for that I'm going to use the crease brush as well as digging into a dark matte shadow. And so I'm going to use a bit onto the brush, not too much, as we always can add more if we need to, and then placing it into the crease and connecting it with the outer corner. So once you have applied the crease shade and connected to the outer corner, we now can move on to the next step, which is applying a second shade on top of the darker shade so that we can blend the edges as well as making sure that it looks beautifully faded. And for that I'm going to use another crease brush as well as digging into the pink shadow, which is this one right here, which is also a little bit shimmery but not too much, so it's fine if you're going to use it also above the darker shadow. And this just will help us to soften the edges. So once the edges are softer and we have also applied the pink on top of the darker shade, we now can move on to the next step, which is also the lower lash line. And for that we are going to use the same shadow, like the darker shadow, as we used for the first step, and I'm also going to stick with the crease brush, but you also can use a flat eyeshadow brush if you like to. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig into the same shadow just a tiny bit, and if I need more I can always add more. Now what you can do to make sure that that the outer corner has a nice angle and that it also will look the same on both sides, you can use any makeup sponge as well as also a brush where you have used concealer, and this can also help you to clean up this part right here. So what you can do is you can go from the bottom part right here and drag it all the way up so that you will get a clean line. And then this way you have on both sides where you followed the outer corner so that it will look beautifully and nice together when it comes to the darker shadow as well, because this is also the one that you used on the lower lash line. And now once this is fixed and you have applied the lower lash line shadow, we can now move on to the main lid area, which is applying the bright purple with your fingers or with a flat eyeshadow brush on the main lid area. So I'm going to use a flat eyeshadow brush, but might also dig into it with my fingers so that I have just a little bit more color that's going to show off. And so taking the flat eyeshadow brush, dipping into the shadow, making sure that the brush is packed, and then patting it on top of the main lid area, and then later on blending it into the other shadows. Now once the main lid shadow is on, we now can move on to some highlighter for the inner corner, which we are also going to bring up a little bit towards the main lid area. And for that I'm also going to use a brush, as well as if you like to, you can also wet the brush if you feel the need to have a little bit more of an intense shimmer going on. And then just placing it right away towards the inner corner. If you're going to use your fingers, that's fine too. So I'm just going to dip the brush into the water. And then digging into this beautiful purplish shadow, because it's just going to match with the rest of the look. So once you have applied it towards the inner corner, we now can also add a little bit of highlighter, which is something that's optional if you like to or not. Then you can also use a bit of the other shadow, which is a little bit lighter, towards the brow bone. And now for the brow bone, I'm going to dig into, with the same brush, I just cleaned it on the back of my hand, and I'm going to dig into the lighter shimmery shade right here. And now just placing it under the brow bone. And now once this is done and you have applied your highlighter towards the inner corner and brows, we now can move on to adding mascara to the lashes. And so once mascara is on, and this is also the last step for the second creative eye makeup look. And I hope that you guys like this one as well. And if you don't mind, you can also let me know down below in the comments which of those looks you would recreate, or are you going to recreate them, because you may also have the palette already at home. And those looks just should inspire you to come up with beautiful eye makeup looks if you want to have fun with makeup. And this is also something that I can recommend you, like just sit down, have a look at the eyeshadow palette and just think like which colors could work beautifully together, and also how you can layer them, because this also depends on the technique that you're going to use. And those are the two beautiful creative eye makeup looks which I created with the Catrice Crystallized Rose Quartz Eyeshadow Palette. And yeah, this is what I wanted to share with you guys. Today is Wednesday. This is the creative looks that I came up with. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it, as this is an independent channel. And thank you so much for your support. This means a lot, and I will see you soon in the next one. Bye.